Thanks for staying with us. You're watching What Now? We turn our attention to the U.S., where a deal aimed at ending the record-breaking government shutdown has cleared its first hurdle in the Senate, offering the first real sign of progress after 40 days of political deadlock. Following weekend negotiations in Washington, a handful of Democrats joined Republicans to advance a compromise funding bill, a procedural step that could reopen government operations shuttered since the 1st of October. The measure will need approval, or still needs approval, from the House of Representatives before 1.4 million federal workers can return to paid duty. The shutdown, the longest in U.S. history, has disrupted air travel, food benefits, and other key services affecting millions of Americans. The bipartisan deal was brokered by Senate Majority Leader John Thune and the White House, with support from Democratic Senators Jeanne Shaheen and Maggie Hassan and Independent Angus King. Republicans secured 8 Democratic votes to reach the 60-vote threshold, while Kentucky Senator Rand Paul opposed the measure over debt concerns. The agreement includes a December vote on health care subsidies, a key Democratic demand, though critics say negotiators gave up too much without clear assurances on what comes next. Now let's talk more on this as we bring in Boye Akioku, who is a global affairs analyst. He joins me from the U.S. Boye, thank you so much for joining us on What Now?
Hi, good morning and good afternoon, Lagos.
So we see that there is now a stalemate, and is a bipartisan stalemate to at least to take a step closer to ending this particular shutdown. I just want to get your reaction to this.
Yes, it looks like after 6 weeks of lockdown, it looks like the Senate is coming to an agreement. 8 Democrats agreed to a deal with the Republicans in the Senate, and they're about to. They put in a procedural vote last night, and it looks like a deal will be reached. Some compromises have been made, and it looks like this will be going forward, and will go to Congress for further deliberations. Yeah.
And having this bipartisan deal was sort of shocking for a lot of people, especially because Democrats are coming from a very strong momentum after the victory in some states, elections in some states on Tuesday. Why did you think that 8 of those Democrats broke ranks to vote with Republicans?
Looking at all the Democrats that voted for this compromise, they are mostly either not up for election in the next cycle, or members that are retiring from the Senate. So it looks like they don't have a lot politically, and they just want to see things moving along. And that's the only thing that's common with all the people that agree to the deal. The Democrats are up for election and are still very much interested in politics, are not going, and they are very angry with their colleagues on these votes.
And I just want to get back to some of the sticking points, which particularly have not been resolved, especially the one on healthcare subsidies. Could the Trump administration be back at this very point again in January?
Yes, it looks like, but the Democrats want to be in control at that point. Funding will be approved if this goes through up to September of next year for most of the programs, except for the Affordable Care Act, which will be up for conversation again in January. At that point, I'm not sure the Democrats will have a lot of power to hold on to and to negotiate with, but they have a commitment. It looks like that they will come to the table to discuss, but having that conversation at that point is going to be an entire different ball game. But we'll see how this plays out. It's all just politics, yeah. So we'll see how it plays out in January.
And interesting, you mentioned that they might not have the leverage in January to negotiate. And I'm wondering what this could mean for Chuck Schumer's leadership, and will this hurt the Democratic Party?
Yeah, because funding is going to be approved for most of the government programs up till September. So what is going to be your leverage? What are you going to be holding on to have that conversation? The truth is they won't have a lot to hold on to, and the Americans will be the ones that will bear the brunt of this. But they're getting a commitment. That's the only thing. But that commitment will not hold any strong there won't be anything strong to negotiate with. But like I said earlier, we'll see what they come up with in January to have this conversation and move forward from there.
And does this rob them of the momentum, that they had already set in place ahead of the midterm election?
A little bit, but I'm sure the guys that are not agreeing will they will hold on to their grounds and say, "Oh, we did not agree to this." The guys that agreed are not on the ballot, so they will still keep pushing out what they want to say and how they want to play out. Especially for the Democrats that seem to have like a headwind from the last elections that held. Yeah, they'll still. We'll see how this all plays out. The next election is going to be in about 1 year from now. This funding is going to be approved up till September. So we are probably going to be at this point just before elections next year. So in September of next year might be another reminder to Jeb and wake everybody up to say, okay, this is where we are. This is what's going on. So, yeah.
And does this also speak to the division that many have been talking about in the Democratic Party since the last election, where it was quite chaotic, trying to get former President Biden to hand over to Kamala Harris, and that became a very strong sticking point within the Democratic Party. Is this a fallout of that supposed division?
It's a party that has a wide range of members with ideologies across. Most of the guys that have agreed to this deal are more moderate. We have the hardliners on the extreme left, and we have it's a wide range of politics involved, wide range of issues that the party agrees and disagrees on. But this is just a general. It's always been like this. And if you move to the other party, also we have the hardliners that are extreme on the right. So it's just it's a regular nature of politics and how it is played out here. People have their hard stance, they have things they can negotiate with, they have the negotiables and the non-negotiables. So it's not really a crack, it's just how politics is played and how they are agreeing and disagreeing on issues.
And just to be a bit more analytical and critical of this, if election were to hold in America today, who do you think Americans will hold responsible for the longest ever shutdown in the history of that country, Republicans or Democrats?
From the polls that we have seen, Americans are holding the president responsible for it. Generally speaking, there are polls all over the place that show a wide range of percentages, but the larger percentage of the blame has been going to President Trump, above 60%, some above 70%. They believe the blame is on President Trump from what we're seeing right now.
Interesting. Thank you so much for your time. We're following that development. It's going to the House of Representatives. This is just the first hurdle. So many more hurdles to pass before this ends. Bayo Akioku, a global affairs analyst. Pleasure to have you on.
Thank you, and thank you very much for having me.
Before